Hello, welcome to We're Smart, a couple of smart guys with lots of life experience and martial arts experience, review pop culture, current pop culture. So joining me today is Necromancer. Hello, Necromancer.
Hello, Oni Senshin, and how are you?
I'm a little sick, still a bit under the weather. You might notice a change in the voice of the next podcast, but yeah, coming good. How's yourself?
I'm okay, thanks for asking. When I get sick, I sound like Barry White, so a little silver lining.
Silver linings. Okay, so this is Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1, Episode 4. And the Obi-Wan Kenobi titles come up, and I say, no, it's not. It's not Obi-Wan Kenobi. The hell is this supposed to be? On Disney Plus?
I think we should. I thought it wasn't too bad, but there are some issues I had with it.
Okay.
Which I don't say they entirely ruined it, but they do let you way down. What a letdown.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into spoilers, shall we? And we'll just do a scene per scene review of the episode, if that sounds okay with you.
That sounds great, and you have been warned, listeners. There are spoilers, but
okay.
Don't listen to our channel if you don't want spoilers.
Season 1, Episode 4. So Obi-Wan Kenobi awakes on the ship, and Tala, his savior, is there. And of course, he's pretty beaten up after his encounter with Vader. And of course, they land on the planet Jabim. This seems to be where their underground railroad network is. It seems to be the brain center of the underground railroad network. And so it seems they've also come up with a name for their underground railroad network, and they call it the Path. The Path. So this is to get Jedi out of harm's way and Force sensitives out of harm's way so that they can't be found by the Inquisitors. And of course, in the first couple of minutes, what do they say? We have to get him into the Bacta tank, of course. So here we go again. You know, we were subjected to this in the Boba Fett show. Bacta tank, every gosh darn Boba Fett episode where he has Force visions, or where he has visions and memories, dreams of, you know,
his past with the Sand People.
Yes, with the Sand People. And I just thought, you know, I hear Bacta tank, and I thought, here we go again. And of course, in the Bacta tank, he starts rehashing his battle with Vader and the fear that he felt during that battle.
That's not Obi-Wan.
That's not Obi-Wan. And why do we have to keep going back to a Bacta tank? These people are one-trick ponies. They are one-trick ponies. Every time you have a vision or a dream, it has to be in a Bacta tank now? Is this what's going on? Anyway.
Poor writing.
Anything you want to say about this scene?
Not much. I certainly agree. I think the scene shouldn't have even happened, because Obi-Wan certainly should not have been dragged through fire in that way. That's what they want to do. Fine. It's, you know, Star Wars belongs to Kathleen Kennedy now. If she wants to make a mess of it and pee all over it, go right ahead.
Oh, because
we can't stop her.
Yep. Well, let's not forget the two things that came to light this week. That one of the writers on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show has not even seen Revenge of the Sith Episode 3, which is where frickin' Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi have their battle that we've been waiting for since we meet again, old man, on the Death Star, when Vader and Obi-Wan meet as old warriors, right?
Yeah, but certainly since Disney now has this contract, or now has this property, they're going to milk it for all it's worth. What are people going to tune into? They're not going to want to tune into a dream sequence where Obi-Wan fights Vader in a dream sequence. They want to see an actual fight between the two of them.
I don't know about that.
That's what they would tune in for. Woohoo!
Well, maybe.
Even
I don't
such
know
as
about
us.
That. Now, people such as us, maybe we want to have an introspective view of Obi-Wan and his journey as he's trying to figure out how to contact Qui-Gon and learn this power of how to commune, be one with the living Force.
So quite honestly, the storyline of Boba Fett. Pretty much the storyline of the Boba Fett series could
Yeah.
basically have been transferred to this Obi-Wan series, more or less. Not certainly not
gosh.
with the huge details, but some of the smaller details. Perhaps he comes to know the Sand People and comes to help them out.
Mm.
Who knows? And has his introspection without a Bacta tank, but using the Force.
Yeah. And, and
now
we
that-
could go back and forth between Obi-Wan and Vader, and they're both say Vader is going over the battle that he had with Obi-Wan and all the struggles that he had when he turned to the dark side. I mean,
which
this is
would be a much
traumatic
better
event.
character, a much better character study.
Yes.
That quite honestly, I had hoped that Star Wars 3 would have been before Star Wars Episode 2 came out. I had expected most of Star Wars Episode 2 to have been Darth Vader, or at least half of it.
Right.
Was I surprised?
Yeah.
Certainly, that's what I had expected.
Well, usually, yes, because you're right. Usually the second act in a play is when everything goes to crap, right?
Which
It's
should
not
have been the
third act
second
that
movie
happens.
entirely going to crap.
Exactly.
And
we
in
don't
Attack
know.
of the Clones, that's
Yeah.
not everything going to crap.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the second
That's the
movie is like
backdrop.
the second act. Anyway. Yeah. So
Be that as it may.
be that as it may, I think it could have been much more effectively done. And when I was not surprised to learn that one of the writers has not even watched Revenge of the Sith and isn't
That's
familiar
no
with it.
surprise at all. And I've been hearing some reports from different areas that, yes, someone has confirmed that, oh yeah, the Obi-Wan series is a remake of Fall of the Jedi.
Yes.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Part
And
2 of the
again-
Kathleen Kennedy, Walt Disney movies.
Yeah, just destroying our pop culture icons. For whatever reasons, there are various theories out there as to why they're doing it. But when you go ahead and you make statements such as you don't care about canon and that you're not breaking canon, you're adding to it. Well, no, I beg to differ. You are breaking canon. If you're not sure what canon is, go look up what J.R.R. Tolkien said about canon, professor of languages, right? And why he thinks it's important when you're telling a story.
An entire other can of worms is what they're doing to his universe.
Oh yes, Rings of Power. Oh, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, let's not even.
I've heard.
Let's not go there yet. Oh boy, it's not great. Okay, so we have we're on Jabim with Obi-Wan.
Panic in the Bacta tank.
Yeah,
panic in the Obi-Wan would not do.
Yes, right. He jumps out of the Bacta tank, awakening from his Force memory or whatever memory he's had, and then we cut to Leia. Leia has been captured. And
she's a 10-year-old girl is far less panicky than Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes. She's in fact in an interrogation room in some unknown but very imperial looking building or industrial place, whatever.
I like the design.
Yes, the design was very good, wasn't it?
The design was well done. That is very imperial.
Yeah, I've noticed
they get the design from some of their video games. Who knows?
Well, look, there's a lot of already established artwork, concept art, and they seem to tell the visual story very well in all the movies. Apart from bombs falling in space, right?
Which is ludicrous.
That was just stupid. Yes.
Beyond.
Okay. Let's be serious. We're talking about The Last Jedi again, in case you're not sure what we're referring to. Anyway, apart from bombs falling in space, visually they seem to get most things right in the movies, but that's not telling a story, is it?
Nope. Flash bang, beautiful images, eye candy. That's not a story.
It's not a story. Okay, so then we find that Leia is caught. She arrives on the ship at the Inquisitor facility, and then we see her in an interrogation room. And with her false bravado, she is yelling at the stormtroopers that are in the room guarding her. And Reva enters and says, Obi-Wan is dead. And I'm thinking, well, why are you telling this kid that Obi-Wan is dead? She has no idea who Obi-Wan is. She knows somebody named Ben. And there is no reaction in the kid at all. The kid acts as though she's distraught that her Jedi protector is dead, who she knows of as Ben. She does not know of this Jedi protector as Obi-Wan. So well done, writers group. You've broken the canon yet again. Do you not even see this coming? Anything to say about that?
Oh boy. Yeah. You caught a good one. I didn't notice that. Not that I was looking. Yeah, the whole scene was unrealistic.
Yes. Right.
What are you going to question and torture a child for?
Exactly.
Why would a child know anything?
Yeah.
How would a child know where they're going? How would a child know any secrets? Are you kidding me?
This is not the type of thing that I find entertaining.
Having
a child at the mercy of an adult in power. I don't care who the adult is, right? And
what would you do in the place of Riva, or if you were a writer? I would simply say, while Leia is aboard the ship with her, she establishes a rapport, acts friendly, and says, "Can you help us save Obi-Wan?"
Sure.
Now, is this doing the same thing?
Well, there's quite a bit of
Possibly, well, because
aggression.
you're establishing a rapport.
There's aggression, but maybe she's going for Stockholm syndrome. But again, it's a 10-year-old child. A 10-year-old child.
Information can you get out of one?
It's like a pregnant mother. It's a sacred thing.
Too true.
10-year-old child.
And practically, seriously, what information do you think you could get out of a 10-year-old?
You're right. How awesome.
How are you going to get any information? There's not going to be any useful information for you, I'm sure.
You're going to get information like, I tamed a wolf in Minecraft.
Wow.
Excuse me. Anyway, quite frankly, though, the actress that plays Leia, I think she's a great little actress for a 10-year-old kid.
Fantastic.
I think she's wonderful.
She doesn't look 10 years old to me. I think
Okay.
she's younger. I think she's younger than 10.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, she's very talented.
Yeah.
The actress who plays Riva, she might be talented and being directed to be a plank of wood.
Yeah, she's not really showing it, is she?
Which is what the kind of direction that they were giving to Hayden Christensen when he was doing Vader. Well, when he was doing Anakin.
Yeah.
In episode 3.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's the direction that they're being given.
Okay, so then in the next scene, we move back to Tala and we meet Roken, and Roken is the I guess the male leader of the path, and we're back with Obi-Wan as well. So Roken seems to be in charge of Jedi smuggling and force sensitive smuggling by the looks of it, and he refers to Obi-Wan as General, which is a callback to his time serving the Clone Wars. So they know precisely who Obi-Wan is, and they know of his deeds and his stature,
which is good.
Yep. And so they talk a little bit about Nur. This is this water moon in the Mustafar system. So I thought Mustafar was a planet. I guess it's the name of the star. Because, this is the solar system, and the main planet isn't called Sol. The main planet, as far as we're concerned, is called Earth, right? And different moons have different names, of course. So at least this moon has a name, Nur. And Mustafar is the lava planet, I suppose, where Darth Vader's castle is, and where the battle in Revenge of the Sith took place, the third movie.
I understood the moon to be a moon of the lava planet Mustafar, as far as I understood it.
All right.
That might be interesting. You have a hot lava planet, and you have a watery moon which could quench the flames.
Mm-hmm. They did use the term Mustafar system. They didn't say planet Mustafar. This is a direct quote. So yet another ball missed by the writing staff. Poorly done yet again. So this is where the Inquisitors are. And Obi-Wan asks, is that where Vader is? No. Does it have shields? No, no one would be crazy enough to attack this. And this is the same type of strategy they had with the original Death Star. It didn't need shields. There were no shields. There were tractor beams, yes, but it was protected by so many ships that they didn't need shields. So we're kind of running into the same arrogance that led to the downfall of the first Death Star. Now, while this is all going on, I think to myself, boy, I sure hope Luke is okay on Tatooine. He's all by himself, not being protected by anybody. And so then Obi-Wan asks, if Vader is on this planet, and Rokan comes back and says, our intel shows he is still on his ship. So now apparently,
it would have been hilarious if they told him, no, he's on some crazy planet called Tatooine.
Yeah. Some sand planet called Tatooine. We hear he's looking for somebody. Some kid. Some kid who's the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. Anyway. Yeah. So apparently their intel can track Vader.
Somehow.
Sure. A little bit of
well, we'll give them that.
A little bit of a stretch. Well, many Bothans died to bring us this information when it came to other bits of intel, right?
Maybe Vader's having yet another hissy fit on the planet.
Yeah.
That he lost Obi-Wan on, and he's killing absolutely everybody.
Yeah. Or he's getting
because he's a teenage punk.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan suggests that they must go and rescue Leia. They must get into, the coin term is Fortress Inquisitorius. Oh, well, at least that's Obi-Wan like. Obi-Wan insists that they must go and rescue Leia. That's something that Obi-Wan would do.
Certainly, he would.
Yeah, I'll tip my hat to that. And Tala again comes to the rescue. She says she can get them in and provide access codes because of her officer clearance. She is an Uber helper, isn't she? Always has the solution at the right time. And we see more of that in this episode. Your helper can be a helper, but they can't provide all the help. If you look at the Disney movie Hercules' little demon helper, the little goat man, all he does is train Hercules so that Hercules can meet the challenges by himself.
That's the point.
That's the point of a helper. If you look at, well, let's look at Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker in episode 4, A New Hope.
If you choose to face Vader, you have to do it alone. I cannot interfere.
Yeah, so this is in, that's episode 5, isn't it? That's Empire.
That's right.
Says that. Was that Yoda that says that to him, or was it?
No, that's Obi-Wan.
Okay, so yeah, it's the helper trains. The helper doesn't hold the hand of the hero through all of his trials and tribulations, or her trials and tribulations and challenges. The adversity that the hero has to overcome has to be overcome by the hero. Yes, potentially with the tools the helper gives him or her, but the helper is not a partner,
the savior,
so to speak. Yes, it's not the
absolute
savior. Hero. So the hero's journey is wrong. They're telling the story wrong. They should go back to writing school and learn about the hero's journey, which is what Star Wars is all about.
Obi-Wan's been through far worse than this. He should have no problem infiltrating this base, getting to his target lickety-split. But what are they inserting? Oh, Obi-Wan's having difficulty with the Force. It's difficult to manipulate an object with the Force while they're flying there.
It's exactly
because they want to confirm that he has been cut off from the Force when he's supposed to be protecting young Luke.
Yeah.
If you cut off from the Force, how do you intend to protect young Luke? If you bury your lightsaber out in the desert, how do you intend to protect young Luke? I'll keep an eye on him.
What, with an uncivilized blaster at hand?
Right. Yeah.
That's not Obi-Wan.
Right.
That's not Obi-Wan.
Definitely not Obi-Wan. That's one of the stupidest moves ever.
Yes. Anyway, you're right. And Tala even says to him on their way to Noor, she says, your body is not the only thing that needs to heal.
Oh.
So, as all these people who have depression because, they were given everything without any challenges throughout their life, so does Obi-Wan. He also has depression. So back to Reva. She is interviewing Leia as though she's the head of the path. Okay, so Leia asks Reva how Obi-Wan died, and Reva tells her that he burned to death on Mapuzo. No sugarcoating it for 10-year-olds in the Star Wars universe, is there? And so I guess they've decided to share with us the name of this mining planet they were on before. I guess they did bother to name it and just neglected to tell us in episode 3. So they're telling us now in episode 4. So, a little bit of information too late is better than no information at all. And Tala and Obi-Wan arrive at Fortress Inquisitorius at this point. Which is now full of Imperial officers and stormtroopers. The hangars are completely full of mostly officers, by the way, not many stormtroopers. You see a lot of gray uniforms, a lot of black uniforms, and not many stormtroopers. And there is a security point in the middle of the hangar floor. And that made me, again, here's your whole suspension of disbelief issue. Security points are supposed to be at choke points, at areas where you can't just walk around them willy-nilly. But this is in the middle of the floor, about 15 or 20 yards or meters from the door that you're trying to get through, and you could easily walk around from one side to the other. And there are 2 stormtroopers guarding the door, and there are 2 stormtroopers guarding the security gate. And of course, there's a ginger. There's the whitest of white, other than being an albino. The most, diminished melanin officer now challenges Tala, who is walking through this security point. All right. And he's challenging Tala. Who are you? Well, you don't have clearance to go through here. I'm officer level 4, whatever she says. And she bluffs her way through with her rank, intimidating this white male, of course.
With intimidating him and putting him in his place.
Yep, she belittles him. Do you know what classified means? She says. And he says, yes, I do. So, well done. Down with white man, because the white man is evil. Because, of course, it's okay to make categorical judgments on a person. So based on what category they live in, or what category of skin they were born with, or hair color, or gender, sexual orientation notwithstanding, that is what determines their traits. Of course, it's not about the person inside anymore. No.
Live long enough and they become the enemy.
Yes, it's the color of your skin that makes you good or evil now. And we have a name for that. Go look it up. It starts with R and ends in asceticism.
That's right.
Anyhow, so then
reverse is no better than the original.
No, they're just batting the racism ball from one side of the court to the other. That's all that's happening. And that's not how you get rid of racism. You get rid of racism intelligently and respectfully, like they do in Star Trek.
Absolutely.
Yes. You never use it at all. It just, racism.
It should simply not be an issue. It should simply not be a thing that exists anywhere.
And treat people with, you want to know, the solution to this whole strife that we're facing right now. Go watch Encounter at Farpoint. If you look at Star Trek The Next Generation, the pilot for that was called Encounter at Farpoint. And in that episode, Picard establishes himself as the leader of this group, and he establishes himself in a way where he doesn't lead through strength or intimidation. He is respectful and authoritative and calm. And, you've got your boardroom, and in the boardroom is Picard and his number 1, which is Commander Riker. And you've got Lieutenant Commander Data, and you've got Chief Engineer Geordi LaForge. You've got his counselor, which is female. You've got Dr. Gosh, I forget Dr. Crusher. And you've also got his chief of security, Tasha Yar, played brilliantly by Denise Crosby as a hothead. I loved how Denise Crosby always played Tasha Yar as an absolute hothead hotshot. I thought it was wonderful. And I thought it was a big
didn't
pity.
need to shame anybody to do it.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. And she played that character in a very strong way, right? And she was always action, action, action. She was a hothead, like, I guess, who else was a bit like that in the original series? Would that have been Chekhov that was like that a little bit?
Not really. Chekhov was a little bit more like a puppy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he was
a
very
bit out
young,
of control, very excited.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, but if you look at how Picard deals with his boardroom, he would get opinions from everybody that had something to contribute, and then he would make his decision. And he wouldn't be disrespectful. He would treat the women the way the men were treated, the way the white men were treated, the black men. It didn't matter.
It simply wasn't an issue. That's what I would like to say about the original series.
Go ahead.
Even in the original series, it didn't matter. You had a Japanese helmsman not very long after World War II, when there had been fighting, like what, 20 years later? You had a black woman, fourth in command of Enterprise. She is Uhura, Nyota Uhura, Nyota meaning star in Swahili. And she was chief of Starship Operations. That was her job, Starship Operations, the job of Lieutenant Commander Data in the Next Generation. She wasn't just the receptionist who answers the phone. So that's the superficial thing that people who don't understand see. Unfortunately, she was never actually given command where you see her in command, but it should have been. When there were emergencies going on with the ship, she had jumped in the helmsman's chair. She had jumped onto the science station. I think she might have even jumped into the navigator panel. Sometimes weapons could be shot by navigation officers. Sometimes they could be shot by helmsmen. She knew the stations.
Yep.
What else did we have in original series? It simply was not an issue.
No.
That's what it should present it as. There shouldn't be an issue. Battlestar Galactica, the BSG remake in about 20 years ago. The couples on the Galactic Annie ship, anybody who was a homosexual couple, it was not an issue. It didn't matter. The short web series that was in between a couple of the seasons, where Lieutenant Gaeta is out looking for his lover, who's I can't remember the man's name. He was one of the other officers. I think he might have come from the Pegasus. Don't recall. It simply wasn't an issue. It was not a problem.
Yeah.
That's how these things should be presented. It should not be an issue. It should be a non-issue.
Yeah.
A matter of course.
So if you look at Star Trek, it's a very optimistic look at our future. It's all about what the human race can achieve. It's not about, one race versus another, race being a geographical influence on, how you evolved over time. It's about what we can achieve and how can we make ourselves better as a human race? And this is where the answer is. We should be aspiring to this. We shouldn't have lost the lessons of old Trek. Old Trek was popular because it was, a bit of a Western, a bit of action, but also a very optimistic and positive look. And people gravitate towards positivity. People gravitate towards heroism, right? So these are the types of stories we should be telling. They're wholesome, they're fulfilling, they're, they give you almost like if there were such a thing as a spiritual fulfillment, this is how you achieve it. through storytelling. It can be achieved.
Yep.
It's the continuation of our old oral tradition where stories were passed down from generation to generation until we could write things down, and then they were passed down through literature. And now it's an evolution of that through film and television. So our stories are important, and the stories are a reflection of the culture. And right now, the culture is unwell. The culture has got a virus, and we need to root out this virus and send in our helper T cells and our white blood cells and our antibodies and root out this virus, where it's now acceptable to be racist as long as it's only to one group. And we're going to say that it's acceptable and carry the flag of anti-racism while we're racist against this one group. So it's rubbish. It needs to stop. And the way it's going to stop is we're going to talk about it.
It's fine to be anti-racist, but don't do it by flipping things the other way.
Yeah. That's not the answer.
That's no better.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. That's our 2 cents on this exchange between Tala and the Ginger security officer. Now, apparently, Obi-Wan is getting fit again. Now he can swim. He's no longer injured to the point that he can't move and can't walk. So another Obi-Wan moment. He's a bit less of a wimp, which is nice to see. He's swimming up to the base, and Reva is attempting to read Leia's mind as this is progressing. So now she is using the Force. And I thought it was very funny how Leia looks up at her, and she's clearly concentrating on not letting Reva into her mind and succeeding, and says, "Is this a staring contest?" I thought that was quite funny. I thought it was cute. Yep. Cute and funny. And, you know, it's great because it's showing that's the thing about being woke, right? It's very difficult to be funny when you're being woke. Right. So they're antithetical. Usually they can't be funny. So hopefully there's 1 or 2 funny people on the writing staff.
So now Reva knows that Leia has something of the Force about her.
Yes. Yeah, she knows she's Force
doesn't
sensitive.
react to it.
Well, she says, "You're strong."
You're
and she
strong.
seems pleased. She seems pleased when she says you're strong. And I thought this was a good bit of acting by Moses Ingram. We see a different facet to her personality. It's very subtle. And I don't know if she plays it, if she's either a fantastic, amazing actor that is consciously putting a cap on it so that she can play this character with great subtlety, or she's rubbish. It's hard to tell which. It really is.
I suppose we've only got 2 more episodes to find out.
And we might not find out. We should go look at her in other stuff, because in this, I don't think it's doing her justice as an actor. Anyway, Lola slips out of the bag. Lola is that Mickey Mouse ears droid. I don't know if you noticed the outline. She looks a lot like a Mickey Mouse hat.
And I don't know what she was supposed to do. Is she supposed to fly straight into Reva's eyes?
Right, straight and electrocute her.
Smack into her nose?
Yeah, who knows?
What is a tiny little thing like this supposed to even do?
Who knows? Well, we need her. She's a MacGuffin for later. And of course, Reva grabs it and says, "I had a droid once," blah 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 blah. So now we're back to Tala, and Tala is sitting at a console and helping Obi-Wan to get into the base. And there's another officer just beside her, and does take a little bit of notice of that she's talking on a comm while she's doing these things and saying suspicious things. But that's where we leave.
And ignores it.
He completely ignores it. Nothing happens.
If he notices it, something should happen.
Yes. Yeah,
that's how you do your writing.
That's
going to notice it. Something should happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what happens then is that Tala,
my God, this is Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Edgar Allan Poe had said that every sentence should have an undercurrent of meaning. Everything you do should push the story to its logical conclusion. Oh, another officer notices it and then conveniently forgets about it.
Yeah.
Bad writing, boys.
Yeah.
And girls.
It could be
and others.
And others, yeah.
You please go read your Edgar Allan Poe style of writing, please.
Yeah. I was going to say it could be a tension building device, because if you look at her when she's walking, Tala, when she's walking through the hangar, a couple of officers do give her the stink eye, because I don't know, I suppose they don't recognize her, but they look suspicious. And again, nothing happens of it. Maybe they're trying to build tension. Will she get caught? Won't she get caught? People are suspicious of her. And of course, then an officer walks up behind Tala and she gets caught. She gets caught, and Obi-Wan is now on his own. And it's a callback to A New Hope. We get a close-up view of the communicator, and it's the same kind of handheld communicator in The New Hope, sitting on the desk, while Tala is escorted away by this officer. I thought that was nice. So you know what I'm talking about, the scene where 3PO leaves his communicator on the desk. Where could he be? And they're getting crushed by the trash compactor. Right. Yeah.
That was real suspension.
Yeah. That was good.
Real suspense.
So then Tala takes out this officer silently in hand-to-hand combat.
Amazing.
Yeah. Another
woman 2/3 the size of a large man who's should have military training himself.
And he's suspicious. He's suspicious of her.
And he's suspicious of her, but she amazingly kills him.
Yep. Or knocks him out. Who knows? One or the other. And
that would be quite a long knockout.
Yeah. Silently, easily. Nobody. So there's I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 other officers at the consoles, maybe 30 yards away from where she is. And, you know, she silently hides the body, or hopefully unconscious person. And goes back to helping Obi-Wan. Now, Obi-Wan is working his way through the bottom of the facility, and he distracts the stormtroopers using the Force. Oh, more Obi-Wan stuff. It still does look like he's concentrating a bit too hard for what we'd expect Obi-Wan would to use the Force, but we're starting to get callbacks to what the real Obi-Wan should be doing and how he should be acting. So I enjoyed this part of it.
Somewhat satisfying, yeah.
Now we go back to Reva and Leia again. So we're jumping around quite a bit during this episode. And Reva is trying to empathize with Leia. We're all on the same side here, she says. And Leia uses this against Reva to outsmart her. And she said, "Oh, we are all on the same side. Call my dad."
Now, you would have seen a much better character in Reva if she had been sweet as candy from the beginning toward Leia and then came down hard.
Yeah. Yeah,
that would have been a lot more effective.
It reminds me of this old Saturday Night Live episode where one person is playing the good cop and the bad cop. "Oh, it's okay. Do you want a coffee?" "Well, you're not going to get a coffee." Yeah, you can't have the same person play the good cop and the bad cop. It's got to be different people.
Certainly not vacillate between both extremes every 10 seconds.
Sure. It's laughably comedic. It's not effective. So Obi-Wan, we're back with him at the base of this base, at the bottom of the base. And Obi-Wan comes across a bunch of Force sensitives. And it seems, I thought at first that they were in stasis, but it
looked like it.
Yes, it looks like they're still alive and being preserved in what looks like amber. But he says it's a tomb, which means they're dead. Now, if he is in tune with the Force, then he would be able to sense them if they are alive.
With these writers, who knows?
Well, I mean, that would be canon.
Who knows? Yeah, it would be, but clearly these writers don't respect canon at all. So
yeah, no.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? We see the couple that were trying to escape in the first episode. The mother and child are there.
Oh, yes.
I thought I saw Plo Koon to his immediate left in the beginning, in the very first shot of that, but then we didn't see him again.
Yeah, Plo is the favorite Jedi of help me out here, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So he's the favorite Jedi of Dave Filoni. Yep. Plo Koon is his favorite, and it's why we see a lot about Master Plo dealing with Ahsoka. Ahsoka is one of my favorite Jedi. I think she's wonderful, and I especially love how Rosario Dawson is playing her.
Right? I like the way she is playing her, calm, cool, collected. That's a Jedi.
That's an adult
I wasn't
Jedi.
Impressed from the first series of Clone Wars when I was watching it. I said, okay, Ahsoka, which is Japanese for "oh, is that so?"
Mm.
Ka is a question. It's the same as our question mark. It indicates a question.
Mm.
So is very much like our English so.
Mm.
Is it so? That's so. And is exactly like we would say. Similar to that. Not quite exactly, but very similar to that.
Yeah, she was snarky and she was catty in the first series, in the first
and
season.
She saved Anakin's ass all the time.
Yep. And
with
they
stunning
changed
regularity.
it. Yeah. They changed it purposefully because it was not playing well with the audience.
Okay. Ahsoka?
Ahsoka. Go figure. Go figure. And wouldn't it be great if Disney Star Wars could learn a lesson from the past? But to quote one of the used to be great, not so great anymore singers, Sting, Gordon Sumner, history will teach us nothing, especially if we don't pay attention to it.
That's right.
Yep. So,
or as Cicero had said,
yes,
to be ignorant of history is to ever remain a child.
That's the thoughtful one. I'm going to have to go and think on that one and come back because, of course, when you said Cicero, I thought about the character in Skyrim who you come across, who is north of. Do you remember it?
I meant the
Cicero.
Yeah, Cicero, who was an enemy of Marcus Antonius, Mark Antony. Mark Antony had him killed.
Would this have been? This is Egyptian
the time
lore,
of Cleopatra.
Yes, yeah,
the time of Cleopatra. So Cicero was a Roman senator who was an enemy of Mark Antony in the Senate.
I'm gonna have to study my my history up a bit then.
Yeah, contemporary of Julius Caesar.
And what did he say? One more time.
To be what was it again? To be ignorant of history is to ever remain a child. Now I'm paraphrasing probably.
Yeah.
But more or less, if you don't, which basically means the same thing.
Do you think he meant naive when he said to remain a child, or?
Yep. And someone had said those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
Oh, yes.
I don't know who said that quote. I don't recall, but someone a lot later, I think.
Anyhow, so we move from that area where Leia outsmarts Reva, and now Reva completely loses her temper, and she's had enough. She's had enough, and she's going to torture Leia physically. I struggled to watch this scene as they strap her down to the table. She's a 10-year-old girl, and this is not sitting right with me. Not sitting right with me at all. I'm really struggling to continue watching.
Yep. Even just the threat.
Yeah.
Because it only winds up to be a threat. Spoiler.
Yes, thank goodness. But yeah, it's not sitting well. Okay, so yes, we're with Obi-Wan. He comes across the Force sensitives. It's a tomb, and he says, Tala, I need a distraction. Oh, I need you to help me again. Okay. So then an officer comes up to the Inquisitor. I was told it cannot wait. So she comes up to, when I say the Inquisitor, I mean to Reva, who's about to start torturing Leia. She says, I was told it cannot wait. And she pulls Reva out of the room. So Leia is not tortured at this point. So Tala is the person who can't wait and needs to meet with Reva. So she meets Reva face to face, and she delivers false intel on the path. And she says they're on Florum. And Reva immediately accuses her of lying because, of course, she's the bestest Inquisitor ever. And she knows that Tala is not telling the truth.
She didn't seem to know. Nothing about her demeanor made her seem to know. It's more like, I don't like what you're saying, so you're lying. That's more what it seemed to be, which seems to be a problem these days.
Yeah.
People don't seem to understand. You've got a generation that thinks that whatever you put up on a computer, on a website, is the truth. Or they don't know what the truth is because images can be manipulated so easily. When they get older, they realize you can't tell what the truth is anyway. The truth doesn't matter. Maybe that's where this is coming from.
Yes. Back to the interrogation room, the torture room, and the lights go out because I guess Obi-Wan now has an R2 style computer interface. Another facepalm moment. Obi-Wan somehow is able to slice into a computer and turn off the lights in the room. It's not like, there are light switches throughout an Imperial facility. I've never seen that in any form of canon whatsoever. Have you?
No, not that I can think of. It's tickling my memory a little bit for maybe one of the Jedi Knight games of Kyle Katarn, but I think that was lightsabering a light that's in the room or something like that. But that's a game. It's no more valid than Disney Star Wars.
No. Well, I'd say it is more
In fact,
valid
a little
than
bit
Disney
more.
Star Wars.
Maybe it's a little bit more valid. We give it
LucasArts
validity.
was back when Lucas was in charge of things, right?
We give it a little bit more validity.
Obi-Wan finally pulls out his lightsaber in anger. Oh, finally, he pulls out his lightsaber in anger and kills the stormtroopers. And I thought it was cleverly done. It was a very fulfilling scene. What did you think about
Very nice
how he took those stormtroopers out? Much more satisfying, for example.
A little bit more slashes than he needed, but sure.
Yeah. It's like zoom. That's all it required. Yeah.
You don't need 3 and 4 slashes to take out a stormtrooper.
No.
One will do fine.
Yeah. Okay, so back to Reva, who is the bestest ever, and she knows that Tala is a spy because Obi-Wan and Leia made it through the checkpoint. That's what she accuses Tala of. She says, the Jedi and Leia made it through the checkpoint, so you must be a spy. You were in charge of the planet. But the alarm goes off, and Reva knows it's Obi-Wan because she's the bestest Inquisitor ever. Anyhow, anything to say about that?
Didn't the female spy admit she was a spy to Reva?
Yes. So she implied that she was a double agent or a double agent. Triple agent?
Triple agent. That's right.
Yeah. So look, Reva decides, well, it's clear that I can't trust you because I don't know if you're lying or not lying, but Obi-Wan's here. I know he's here. Anyhow, because the alarms are going off. It must be Obi-Wan. And then so something happens. I don't quite have a note on exactly what happened where a communicator gives somebody away. I think the communicator gives Tala away. Yes, Obi-Wan tries to talk to Tala while he's being escorted by the stormtroopers, or she's being escorted by the stormtroopers because she's under arrest now. And of course, he calls Tala on the communicator, and I think, well, my phone has a silent mode. This is supposed to be, a futuristic, technologically advanced culture. Do these communicators not have silent mode on them? Another facepalm moment for me. Just, more suspension of disbelief, just destroyed by just this stupidity of the writing staff. And of course, she uses the distraction to martial arts. Both the stormtroopers, trained stormtroopers in armor, her with gloves on. Does she even have gloves on? I don't even know if she has gloves on. But using hand-to-hand techniques, knocks out and takes out both stormtroopers.
Wow. Supergirl.
Wow. Supergirl. Just shake of the head. You know what I mean? Shake of the head and a wag of the finger. To quote Stephen Colbert. Oh my gosh. Writing staff, really? Go just hang out in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu dojo and see how hard it is. Hang out in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu dojo, one where they wrestle hard. Right?
Just a regular dojo. That's all.
Yeah, you don't even have to. Okay, go to a regular one. You don't even have to participate in the classes. Just go hang out and watch classes. In 7 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've seen 2 people get choked unconscious. 2 people pass out. 7 years. 2 people. Well, that's because people tap. But do you have any idea?
Yes, I had to tap before I was knocked out by a good friend of mine when we did some sparring.
Yes.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got behind me, put me in a sleeper choke, and had to tap. Yeah. Tried to fight it. No, this is no good. Had to tap. Boom.
It is incredibly difficult to incapacitate a person. Look at professional boxers.
that
Professional?
was equal training. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy who did it to me had been, his job was training. That was his job.
Yeah.
Martial
So
arts,
how long
training
did it
martial
take
arts
him?
basically every day.
How long
It
did
took
it?
him a while to get to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a 10-second thing and oh, wow, whiz bang. Mind you, you look back to old Captain Kirk and he uses a judo chop on somebody's neck and suddenly they pass out as well. So, realism being what it is. But it's 2022. We have MMA. We see some people get knocked out straight away, but it's a freaking hard hit that it takes to knock a human out. An unsuspecting human, okay, that's different. An armored human, you're kidding.
I think the slim model girl would have a little bit trouble doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So more complaints about, geez, what you might be doing is giving women false confidence. False confidence.
Now, Gina Carano, that would be different.
That would be different.
I'm pretty sure that she wouldn't have the stormtrooper just stand there.
Yeah.
She would have probably told him, this is how you fight. Do give me a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
She would have probably known better. But hey, Disney decided to fire her. But Gina Carano got removed by Kathleen Kennedy and was not reinstated by anybody with higher powers. So good work, Disney.
Yeah, good work. Nor did anybody come to her defense. Like they came to the false defense of Moses Ingram. Well, look, I say false defense. There's some debate as to whether this whole racist attack was orchestrated or whether it's real.
Probably was.
It's disgusting.
Some people have said disgusting things, but I think you will always get people who will say disgusting things about anything.
Yeah, sure. Just for shock value.
They may. There's certainly much more of a problem of racism further south in the United States than there is in either of our countries. So maybe we shouldn't comment on it so much, but it definitely looks like they were playing a card of, oh, if you don't absolutely love this character, then you're a racist.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No. You have to separate the two things.
Yeah. We don't accept that.
I don't like a character. It doesn't matter what color their skin is. It doesn't matter what country they came from. One of my favorite lines from a comic book was Captain America saying, "Some of my best friends are people."
Makes you stop and think.
Let's stop and think. Some of my best friends are people. We're people. We're people. That's right.
Doesn't matter what your politics are. What can you do the job? How good is the job? That's what matters. And Gina, unfairly fired. Unfairly fired. She was excellent in that role. I was really looking forward to her new series.
She may have been uninformed about certain things, but that's no reason to fire her.
No.
Not in that, not for the things she said. So
no. She said nothing freaking divisive, and I think that she was dragged through the mud by the press as well. So the mainstream media, unfortunate. That's why you come to YouTube for the real news now.
So we've got 2 stormtroopers shot so easily.
Now Obi-Wan is using the Force like he should. He's using the Force
finally.
Like Obi-Wan we know. Finally, yes. Okay. Because I say this because you have to be Force attuned to deflect blaster bolts with a lightsaber, and even more so to reflect them as to where you want them to go. And this is in the old Jedi Academy and Outcast games. As you grow in the Force, you can not only deflect bolts and protect yourself and block them, but you can then reflect them at given targets. And this is also canon in one of the newer Star Wars games with Cal Kestis. So this is definitely canon. We can see that Obi-Wan is growing in the Force as he's being attacked and running through the hallways with Leia, protecting her because he's rescued her now, and deflecting and reflecting blaster bolts back at stormtroopers and various other parts of the base. So very nice to see that. Obi-Wan is fighting well. But at one point, what I would assume is double paned glass. If you look at the windows from the side, you can even see where the 2 panes of glass between the facility, Fortress Inquisitorius, as it were, and the outside ocean is situated. You can see there the panes go into the window frame, 2 different panes. And the inner one gets a blaster bolt and starts to crack. And it looks like there's water seeping through or mist coming through. And I'm thinking, well, hang on, the outer pane is still fine.
People who don't know what they're writing.
Don't know physics.
Or they'll violate physics just for the sake of the story.
Yep. Anyhow, it starts leaking water and starts to rupture. And Obi-Wan is using the Force. The Force is now strong with him. Ben is holding back the weight of the ocean, even though the outer pane is still intact. But let's imagine it is. For the sake of the exercise, let's imagine it isn't. And Ben is holding back the weight of the water with the Force, while every now and again blocking the odd blaster bolt as the stormtroopers approach him. And as they get closer and closer, Obi-Wan finally uses the Force, breaks the window and all the windows between him and the stormtrooper on purpose, so that the ocean rushes in from both sides. And
he can outrun water.
He outruns a massive rush of water incredibly quickly through the door that's closing slowly, and no water ends up on the other side of the door. Facepalm, right?
Please, people, please do physics. Please learn a little physics, will you?
Just
have him force deflect the water as he's running away from it, pushing it all the other way.
Give us a reason,
please.
It's like, show us, show us, show us. Don't tell us, show us. Right? And they didn't even tell us. Anyhow, drowned stormtroopers run amok across the on the other side of the doorway. No water makes it out there with him. Now, Tala looks to him and says, "This won't hold for long." Another facepalm moment. Really? An underwater base, and your doors and bulkheads aren't designed to hold back the force of water. Oh, facepalm moment.
None of the stormtroopers swim out the window to get up to the surface.
Right. No, they died. They died by the impact of the water. Yeah.
The water just hit them. They just died.
Yeah. they're allergic to water. That's why they smell so bad.
I've got to get that t-shirt that says the stormtrooper I missed where he's shooting, and there's a red shirt from Star Trek. I died anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, stormtroopers died anyway.
Yeah. The alarms are going off, and Obi-Wan is obviously not an officer, though he's in an officer's uniform, and he's got an overcoat, a big trench coat on with this conspicuous looking child-sized growth of some sort underneath this bloody cloak.
This is a cyst. My God, is it noticeable? I'm terribly sorry, sir. No.
Don't body shame me.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. You know, alarms going off. Obi-Wan is clearly not an officer with a beard like that. I mean, the only facial hair canonically we've ever seen on an Imperial officer was Admiral Ozell. And I don't know if you remember Admiral Ozell, but he's the one that Admiral Piet takes over from, because he gets killed by Vader for coming out of hyperspace too close to the Hoth system. Right? Isn't that when he gets killed? Or was
absolutely right?
Was it
Moff Jerjerrod was drawn as the commander of Death Star 2, was drawn as having a mustache, but in the film, I don't think the man who went to get talked down to by Vader, the Emperor, is not as forgiving as I am.
Right.
He didn't have a mustache, and he didn't seem as cool as Moff Jerjerrod had been.
Yeah.
As originally depicted. Anyway,
so look, I mean, the Empire is, without using the term, well, I could use the term, they're basically space Yahtzees, right? So they are their uniforms, their comportment, it's modeled on Yahtzee kind of culture, and they are nothing if not well kept. That's for sure. Yes, a bunch of negatives, but also the positive is they are well kept, and they have very strict codes of dress. And we have only ever seen one officer, and he was an admiral no less, with any facial hair. We have never seen any with beards, and Obi-Wan, the point is, Obi-Wan stands out like a sore thumb. So if you think he's going to be walking through a hangar while alarms are blaring because there's an intruder in the facility, if you think he's just going to stroll through the hangar, without getting noticed by anybody, you've broken my suspension of disbelief yet again. That's
Badly done.
Yep.
Badly done. They should have snuck through the rafters above, where the pilots used to get into a TIE fighter.
Sure.
Should have done something like that.
They even walk, within 10 yards, 15 yards of two Inquisitors.
Ridiculous.
And the Inquisitors don't notice, and they don't sense them. But then, of course, Reva shows up. And this, as I see this, is the no woke decider. If Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan, this lightsaber will come out, and he will say, "Hello there." Otherwise, it's modern Disney Star Wars woke garbage. But, none of those things happen. They're saved by snow speeders. And at the pace which the snow speeders are going, it looks like they're going to be crashing into the wall at the back of the hangar as they...
with the distance they have left.
Yes, with the distance they have left and the speed they're traveling at. But they cut before we see this happen, and it isn't explained.
So it doesn't. So it's fine.
It's fine.
So it's hand wave. It's fine.
It's hand
Let
wave,
me
it's
just
fine.
interject here about those who would say those are impossible odds for Obi-Wan to fight. He had to give up. Japanese stories, Jedi, which is where Lucas got the name for the Jedi from. Jedi period stories will have the hero samurai be legendarily having to fight legions, loads of men to fight against. And the one samurai defeats them all. That is the culture. That is the mythology that we're doing here. That's what a Jedi Knight is.
Yep.
He could take on all those stormtroopers without a problem. With the Force as his ally.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to deconstruct it and mock it with Jake Soywoker in the last Jerk movie, where he said, "Do you think I'm going to fight them all with my laser sword?" Yeah, calling it a laser sword, right? Luke would never call it that.
Well,
that's the least of the violations.
I've heard Lucas call it that in various documentaries.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
George
they would.
Lucas thing.
I'm sure they'd fix that up pretty quickly in the scripts.
Yeah.
It was never called that until Phantom Menace, and that was arguably a young kid who didn't know the correct name.
Yeah.
So, anyway, these snow speeders are now able to hover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You noticed that too. So you've given up. That's a spoiler. But yes, that does come later. We see the snow speeders hovering, and so this explains it. But it still doesn't explain the laws of momentum, and they must have reverse thrust. Otherwise, they would definitely be detritus all over the
over the back walls. Yeah.
Yeah. All over the but of course, as they destroy everybody but our protagonists, and but Reva, of course, Reva survives because she's the bestest ever. Obi-Wan uses his blaster to take out whatever stormtroopers, Imperial forces are left. He goes back to his blaster, even though we've just seen him in his glory with his lightsaber and returning to his lightsaber. So, I feel that there's so many mixed messages coming through. Are we a Jedi? Aren't we a Jedi?
He's not Kyle Katarn. Don't try and steal from it.
Yeah.
You were trying to steal from it by having him cut off from the Force. The storyline of Jedi Outcast is not this story. It's not Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Jedi Outcast was good for Kyle Katarn in the situation he was in after the game Mysteries of the Sith. So don't try and steal from it here, because you don't know what you're doing, story writers.
Yeah.
So they get on their transport and they escape. They get onto one of the snow speeders and escape.
Yeah.
Second snow speeder destroyed. First snow speeder pilot distraught.
Yes. And who was the pilot of the destroyed snowspeeder?
I honestly don't even know.
Was it
Maybe
white
those were the
male,
two-
perhaps?
Yes.
Oh, so white
That's right.
males. Okay, so what message are we sending here? Because we think about the youth of today, what male role models do they have to look up to? Hopefully not Obi-Wan, not the way he's acting. Maybe more so how he's acting in this episode, but certainly not in how he acted in episode 3. But he's still using a blaster, and his blaster to me is cut off from the Force. It's weakness. It's not Jedi.
You know,
it's
what
not
you
Obi-Wan.
just said, that makes me think of something. George Lucas had said in an interview that these movies are for young children, to show them, good versus evil. That's what he had said like decades ago. So what are the children being taught by this?
Well, I mean, they're taught by in this act where the white male savior speeder gets destroyed by Reva, we see that if you try to do good, you're a male, we're going to kill you. You will die if you try to save people. So
That's
don't
kind
try.
of the message
That's what I
that
see.
Obi-Wan was saying at the beginning of the series too, when the Jedi came for help from Obi-Wan. Bury your saber and go hide.
Okay, so there was recently an interview on Overlord DVD, Doomcock's channel, with Bill Whittle, where they talk about strong role models for young boys, and they talk about seeing it in the culture of video games, right? What video games are selling. The video games are selling where, the single hero fights all the bad, the evil characters, either through first-person shooter or whatever. These are the types of things that are selling. If James Bond goes and has stern words about not being bad, and then everybody gets along at the end of the James Bond film, and he doesn't have to drive his car quick or shoot his gun or anything like that, it's not a very engaging story, right? You look at the people who are fighting in the Ukraine right now, even Miss Ukraine, she went and trimmed her nails, he talks about, and she's because it helps her shoot her firearm better, right? So humans gravitate towards the hero character, towards standing against evil, towards one person standing up for what they believe in, and one person trying to do good for groups of people. And he says, when you see that cultural shift, where everybody turns into a woke pod person, that's when we find out that the woke wankers have won. But the fact that we've got entertainment and we've got real world examples of people stepping up to be heroes means it's still in our genetic makeup. And this is what people are striving for. So,
well,
we're not going to
be entirely genetic. It may not be. We don't know how we see a lot of evidence for nature versus nurture. Nature would be the genetic side. Nurture would be the cultural side. And that's why, this kind of nurturing that we're seeing from this woke type of agenda where it's going too far. A little bit of woke is a good thing. Too much, sorry, it's too far. It's no good. What's going to happen? Well, I don't know. We may have to fight it harder than we think, or it may be innate. It may be that when the invaders are coming, hey, we're going to file off our nails. If we have nails, we're going to pick up a weapon and we're going to shoot it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I very much agree. It doesn't matter who's shooting a gun at you, male or female, you're going to die. Women can shoot a gun just as readily as men, I'm sure. Who knows? They might even be better at aiming. We don't know.
Well, look, what we suspect is that the normies are waking up to the fact that this woke culture, this intersectional politics has entered their entertainment, and they're getting tired of it, and that we are going to see a shift. And some even argue that the shift has already started. We have films like Top Gun, a film that's intensely patriotic and about combat, and doesn't belittle the male characters and doesn't belittle the female characters, and everybody's
Exactly. I was about to say that. Yeah.
right,
They
or
did
the
perfectly
black
well with
characters,
the pilot.
right? You're
Really
seeing
good. Or
films
black
like that,
characters either. Yep.
right? You're seeing
Perfectly
films
good.
like Spider-Man, No Way Home, which is, again,
Really
it's
good.
not right. Same
Yep.
idea. So we're starting to see a shift culturally, and we suspect.
How many people care about Multiverse of Madness? I'm not going to see it. I don't need to.
About what?
From what I've heard about Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, I don't need more of the same woke stuff.
Oh, nope. Sorry. I heard that
Not
was
going.
called WandaVision, the movie. Sorry, I didn't bother seeing it. Woke wankery, not interested. Not interested. This is not Doctor Strange. Don't try to trick me into thinking it's Doctor Strange. Right?
Yeah, but they seem to be pulling bait and switch very often these days.
Exactly. So that's why I'm not going to go see your garbage anymore.
They're going to lose.
So when I'm going to be on the internet, I'm going to listen to the people who actually do go see these movies and post reviews. And if they say, I recommend you see it, guess what? I'm going to spend my money like I did on The Northman, like I did on Spider-Man No Way Home, like I did on Top Gun. Those are the only movies I've seen this year.
Yep.
In the theater.
Absolutely correct.
And I saw Top Gun twice. Awesome.
Yeah, very good. So to finish off, we have...
sorry, we can't finish off yet. Oh yes. So I did notice this. Thank you. So Vader ends up on screen, but again, no Darth Vader theme. And I did notice this time that in the cut, so it fades to black, then we hear Darth Vader breathing. And I think they're trying to replace the Darth Vader theme with the sound of Darth Vader breathing. I suspect so that they don't have to pay John Williams. I don't know if that's true or not, but I suspect that's what's going on.
It wouldn't surprise me with what they're pulling.
For crying out loud, Disney,
so many
Star
other
Wars,
places.
Disney, Lucasfilm. This is not how you pluck the, you know what? There's a reason. There's a reason they paid John Williams as much money as they paid him, because he's a goddamn genius. And it plucks on our emotional strings. It plucks on basic human emotions like fear and foreboding when we start to hear the Imperial March.
Yes, but that would mean Darth Vader is in control, and we can't have Darth Vader in control.
Why not?
What happens? He force chokes Reva. Is she out of control at all? No, Vader is, but not her. She's calm and collected, even though she's being choked, and she speaks over the choke. What? I put a tracker on him. She removes the agency of Darth Vader in A New Hope and gives him the idea that he'll eventually be using to track the Millennium Falcon. Oh, yes. So nicely done, writers. So nicely done.
You caught that, eh? Why? Because Reva is the bestest ever?
Of course. Of course. He had to get the idea off of the bestest ever.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, the tracker is on Lola, the droid. I mean, clearly she didn't have time to go put it on the ship, but she did hold the droid in her hand. And so that's where she did it. She thought of it way back when, before she even interrogated Leia, that she would track them because she knew that they were going to escape.
Well, Vader would not act with such lack of control. That's not Vader.
No, this isn't Vader. Vader also would not.
He was angered, but always had control of his anger. He was never insane, out of control. There's a difference, which clearly the writers either don't know or decide they're dispensing with.
Yes.
For their agenda.
So did you notice also how Vader moved in that scene? He jogs up to her in anger. He jogs up to her in anger. If you look at David Prowse and his portrayal of Darth Vader, he walks with stature and weight.
And takes his own sweet time.
Even if he's rushing, even when he's rushing to try to get somewhere, he walks quickly with a massive stride, sure, but it is purposeful and weighty, even in a rage. Who is ever in this suit does not move like Vader. Vader
Or-
doesn't jog anywhere.
Or he was told to do this, which is not correct. He
Yes.
comes in looming over Riva
Yes.
to show the intimidation of him because he's big and tall and scary.
Well, he should be. He should be a dark presence that enters the room. It's like when a dramatic woman enters the room and the whole room kind of stops and has a look at that dramatic woman. It should be the same type of presence. Darth Vader should be like a massive thunderhead, a big, massive black-green cloud that
He
is
shouldn't
threatening.
be a towering bully, which is how they played him off.
No, he shouldn't be a towering bully. No, I agree.
That's
with
how
that.
they played him off. So
No. He's much too powerful to be a bully. He's much too strong to be a bully.
Doesn't
Weak
need
people
to
are
be a
bullies.
bully.
Yes,
That's
that's
right.
right. His mere presence will do it. Like even when that officer at the table talks about his sad devotion to that ancient religion, even as he chokes him, all he does is he takes 2 steps forward and slowly raises a hand and chokes him. Right? I find your lack of faith disturbing. He doesn't say, "I'll teach you a lesson, you impudent dog." Right? Loss
which
of
is
control.
basically what he did last night.
Yes.
He may not have
absolutely.
used those words, but
Yeah.
that's the attitude of what he was doing.
That's not Vader.
That is not Vader.
And that's, when she says she has placed a tracker on the ship, he says, "It seems I have underestimated you." Another facepalm moment for me. It's like when the Miss Marvel was introduced. You'll like her. You know what? No, we won't. Or when Captain Marvel appears in Avengers Endgame, Thor, grabs his new freaking Stormbreaker and he says, "I like this one."
This one.
No,
Yeah.
you don't like this one. You're trying to convince the audience to like this one. And guess what? Because you're trying to freaking do that, it's transparent. And now I don't like her. Maybe I would have.
Now we don't buy it. Sorry. Don't
You're
buy
trying
what
to-
you're selling.
Yep. And so, when Vader says, "I have underestimated you," you know what, Vader? No, you didn't. And now I don't think she's all that great. Don't tell me. Show me.
Yep. Shot themselves in the foot again.
Yep. No, this is not how you entertain people. This is not entertainment, and it's not good writing. Hey, all right. So Leia takes Obi-Wan's hand, and there's a definite connection between Leia and Obi-Wan. And I just
Nice
think,
touching
let's
moment.
go stick our woke wangs into the nearest antique cannon that's down at the park, because you're breaking canon all over the place. Leia now has a connection with Obi-Wan. If Leia had a connection with Obi-Wan, it would be a personal appeal that she leaves on R2-D2. It wouldn't be, "Years ago, you fought for my father.
You
in the
served my
Clone Wars."
father.
It would be a personal fucking Kathleen Kennedy. Goddamn, Pablo Hidalgo. These people who sign off on this absolute garbage have no idea how much they are breaking the continuity, the lore, and the canon. And
I think they really have no idea. And if they did have an idea, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They don't respect the original stuff. That's the problem.
Do you want to say it, or shall I, about respect? Without respect?
Without respect, we
reject.
reject.
No, thank you.
Mr. Doomcock, totally correct.
Yep. I salute you, Mr. Doomcock. Hail.
Hail.
Hail. And with that, we come to the end of episode 4 of Obi-Wan, Obi-Cuck, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Jake. Jakey Bond. You do one.
Jake Kenobi. The
Jake
end
Kenobi.
of Jake Kenobi, episode 4. Let's see what happens in episode 5. Not that I'm looking forward to it.
No, gosh, I've got to apologize. I want to apologize.
Honestly,
Yeah, go on.
I'm approaching episode 5 much like I would going to the dentist to have a cavity filled.
I agree.
It's got to be done.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we started the channel. We've been complaining about this stuff, privately for years.
Since 2009, when JJ Jerk made Star Drek.
Oh, gosh. Years. We've been complaining about it, and we've been inspired to actually finally start a channel. Anyway, look, I wanted to apologize for the negative tone with which I approached this review at the beginning, but it's just, it's painful. I'm not enjoying watching this series. I've got to tell you. So I'm not usually this negative, but it's just very difficult to not be when it comes to the subject matter, because they're taking something that I've loved and they are deconstructing it and putting it back wrong. They're putting it back together in the wrong way. It's subversive. I'm upset that somebody like Ewan McGregor, somebody that I held in high stature, would agree and then participate in such a character assassination. Again, Obi-Wan is being more like Obi-Wan in this episode. Hopefully by the time we get to episode 6, he actually behaves like Obi-Wan should. But I'm sure that if there were no episode 4 where Obi-Wan was alive, that they'd have killed him off. That they'd have pulled a Luke Skywalker like they did in The Last Jedi. Right?
I think you're right. I think you're right. I mean, if some people have apparently admitted that it's, you know, the last jerk all over again, and that's what they're doing, and they're taking basically all the story hits from that and all the points from that, all the main points from that.
Yeah. I did see something interesting from Echo Base Network. They kind of drew a parallel between each episode of this and Star Wars. Movies, right? So let's see. The first episode takes place on Tatooine, right? And so if you look at episode 1, the Phantom Menace, that's on Tatooine. Episode 2, they end up in the Undercity of Coruscant, and that's where we were. It looked like, I don't remember what the planet's name was in episode 2. It looked a lot like Nar Shaddaa from video games.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think they even talk about Nar Shaddaa at all in any of the on-screen iterations.
Nar Shaddaa was great when it was first presented in Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
No, it was so good. Wasn't it great?
It was
Immersive.
excellent.
You know,
Very
yeah,
immersive.
graphics are a little old, but still fantastic. And then episode 3, you have the duel between in Revenge of the Sith, you have the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And then of course you have the duel in episode 3 of this series as well. And then you go.
Now we're on part 4, episode 4, Rescue of the Death Star. Rescue from the underwater
Imperial base.
Imperial base that has no doors to counter water.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The door won't hold for long. Anyway, and that went nowhere. Again, so back to your Edgar Allan Poe issue. It went nowhere. This won't hold for long. It's like when you're playing a video
game. Didn't happen, didn't go anywhere. They
No.
should have had, if the doors wouldn't hold for long, then have the base collapse because the doors break.
Sure.
Then you've got the destruction of your Death Star.
There you go.
So we can look forward to episode 5, where everybody's just about to lose hope. And then maybe Reva is going to turn to the light side, just like Darth Vader did at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Maybe.
On episode 6.
Maybe.
Of Jake Kenobi.
Jake Kenobi.
Well,
yeah. So thanks for stopping
this
by.
episode.
Yeah. Thanks for watching and checking in. Please subscribe, like, and share the video if you liked it. And if you didn't like it, well, thanks for watching. If you agree with what we have to say, or you want to make your own point, tell us what you think down in the comments below. And yeah, other than that, thank you very much.
We will see you again. O Genki Day.
O Genki Day. Is that
Japanese?
Okay. I thought it was some type of gender thing.
O is honorable.
Yeah.
Genki, to be full of energy.
Oh.
De, to proceed. So let's be, or of. So let's be energetic. Honorably energetic. O Genki De, take care.
Let's be happy and gay. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Necromancer. It's been a slice.
And thank you, Oni-san.